It's the question everyone wants the answer to. Are Maghnes Akliouche and Rayan Cherki going to play for Algeria? Now guys, I've got to say, it's getting out of hand. The other day, I went to Winter Wonderland. I got stopped. And someone said, excuse me. I said, yeah. He said, is Akliouche and Cherki going to play for Algeria? I'm like, mate, how am I supposed to know? How am I supposed to know? We have seen reports of these two players from these so-called accounts, and let me tell you, all these accounts, 99% of them chat rubbish. Absolute rubbish. They don't know. They haven't got a clue if Akliouche and Cherki are going to play for Algeria, because even Akliouche and Cherki don't know if they're going to play for Algeria, because if they did, they would have already done it by now. So we're going to delve in if we're going to get them, if we're not going to get them, and what are the chances. Now I've got to say, the people that want us to get him, which should be everyone, should want us to get these two players. They want them to play in March against Botswana and against Mozambique in crucial FIFA World Cup qualifiers. I'm sorry, I don't get that. If they switched, you can't throw them in game number 1 Botswana away. You can't do that. It is such a big game. There's so much pressure going into that game. You cannot, till you get Akliouche and Cherki, start them in that game. If you wanted to start them in that game, you would have got them in November against, what was it, Liberia and Equatorial Guinea, and tested them, because those games were basically friendlies because we'd already qualified. You don't get them and throw them in a game like that. For me, if you get them, they come in the friendlies in the June time, in the summertime, and you get them ready for the last 4 World Cup qualifiers. You do not get Akliouche and Cherki and throw them in March. I think it's such a big risk. Remember Tunisia played Mali in the World Cup qualifiers to go to Qatar, and Mali called up Doucouré from Everton, the midfielder. He played his first 2 games ever for Mali, didn't do anything in 2 games against Tunisia, never called again. You can't do that. It's far too big a game. So look, if they do it and they get them and they play, fair enough, prove me wrong, but it's such a gamble. And I like Guiri on the left at the moment. I like Mahrez on the right at the moment. I like Baghdad up top, or Amora can do that as well, or Amora off the bench at the moment. I just think we've settled a system and a side in a back 5 to get those 2 and throw them in. It could backfire. But listen, I'm not saying I want them. These 2 players are crucial, let's say, for the next AFCON, for the next World Cup. These are 2 players we have to be getting, because you're not going to have Mahrez forever. You're not going to have these people forever. And Cherki could do a real job on that left-hand side. Guiri can play down the middle. Akliouche could do a real job on the right-hand side. And as a number 10, they're 2 players Algeria have got to be getting. But are we actually getting them? This is the thing. I see Cherki far more likely than Akliouche. I don't think the threat with Cherki comes from the French. I think if France wanted Rayan Cherki, he would have almost certainly played for them by now. I think the threat of Rayan Cherki actually comes from the Italians, because Cherki's got Italian heritage on one side of the family. And the Italians, and they showed when they got Retegui from Argentina up front, they're not afraid to get a binational. You've seen what they've done in the past. I think we're actually up against Italy for Rayan Cherki, and that's why we ain't got him yet, because it's a no-brainer. He's not going to play for France. I said before, the way he was treated by Thierry Henry in France at the Olympic Games in France was disgusting. Barely kicked a ball, played a few minutes in the game where France had already qualified. I think they were trailing Spain in the final and barely got on the pitch, if at all. So shocking treatment of Cherki by the French under-21 side. You've seen what happened with the likes of Nabil Fekir. Yassine Adli can't get in a squad over Guendouzi. I mean, craziness. So I don't think that the French are going to threaten us with Cherki. I think the Italians are trying to swerve him in. And if he went to play for Italy, I don't know if that would be better or worse for us. But certainly, if we can beat the Italians, I think we'll get him. I think we'll get Cherki. I don't know when, but I think we will. But I think that becomes easier when they leave Lyon. You look at Aouar when he left Lyon, much easier to get, and that was with him playing for France. You look at maybe once Aouar leaves Lyon, and we know Lyon are in a spot of bother, they might even get relegated to Ligue 2. I think when Cherki gets out of there, far easier to get. We know the Lyon president puts all sorts of players, pressure on the players to play for the French team. So I think Cherki leaves Lyon, we get him. He might even leave in January, who knows. I think Akliouche, the French actually want him, and I actually get the more he scores and does well, and the problem is Monaco are far more exposure. They're in the Champions League. They're going to go through in the Champions League phase. They're having a very good season. Akliouche is having a very good season. Every time Akliouche scores a goal, it makes me actually a bit nervous, because that will push him even closer to Didier Deschamps wanting him. Now, Akliouche can also play for Uruguay. Don't think there's any worry of that happening. Get these pages saying that Akliouche's uncle was at the game in Iberia, that Akliouche loves watching every Algeria game. Look, if he loved Algeria that much, he'd have been there playing, like Ibrahim Mazza, like Ammi Cherki. Let's have it right. If you love Algeria that much, Maghnes, you'd have been in the squad by now. So don't give me all that. I think this is a guy that's stalling to see if he gets picked by France. I think if Akliouche got called up by Deschamps come March, I think he'd go and play for them. I think he'd go and play for them. And I think if Algeria want him, they've got to get him now, they've got to get him quick, and they've got to get him before he lights up on fire. Because look, right now, look, we'll come to Michael Olise. Michael Olise is now in the French squad, which we didn't think would happen. He's playing for Bayern Munich. Once upon a time, he was at Palace. If Akliouche goes to a big team, you've got to get him quick. Look at Ben Seguir, the other winger that plays for Monaco, plays for Morocco. Morocco got in there quick when he was just a teenager, and they got him. We've got to get Akliouche fast. From our side, we've got to do more work. We've got to get him in. We've got to get him playing competitive games. We've got to do it quick, because the more Akliouche scores in Liga and the Champions League, the more France are going to use him, give him 2 caps, and barely touch him again. So I think Cherki, we're battling with the Italians, and Akliouche, we've got to put the work in, we've got to convince the lad. But hopefully we can get these 2 players. So what do you guys think? Can they be real game changers? Could they revolutionise the Algeria team if we get Akliouche and Cherki? Let me know. I think they're both fantastic players. Can you believe Cherki's only 21 still? Let's get them in. Let's get our team ready for that AFCON in Morocco and for that World Cup in America, Canada and Mexico. Thanks for watching. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Hope you're doing well. See you next time.